Welcome to the Leverton on Everything podcast. I'm Leverton, and this is Everything, a daily podcast where I review literally everything in under 10 minutes, but usually, let's be honest, it's movies or TV series. Today we're talking about Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse from 2023. I gave it 10 out of 10 stars. And I think that it's one of the best superhero films of all time. I think that this is a good example of the fact that people do not have a superhero fatigue, they just have a limited tolerance for bad movies. This, along with its predecessor, are probably the greatest Spider-Man films of all time. My favorite actor playing Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire, but this film shows a believable teenage boy going through the problems of having great responsibility thrust on him. And the animation is stunning. Not only is it breathtaking, but it's expressive. It's some of the best animation in a feature film since the beginning days of Disney. And by that I don't mean cute princesses, I mean the psychedelic horror of some parts of Fantasia, the dancing pink elephant sequence in Dumbo, which is horrific, and the evil queen sequence in Snow White, which is terrifying. There's a great scene where Gwen is having an emotional moment with her father, and the whole color and tone of the animation changes. There are two major flaws with this film, though. The first is the ludicrous idea that somehow what happens to Spider-Man is what keeps the universe together. And the other is the ending. The story feels like it can be concluded with a couple of more scenes. They ended it on a cliffhanger, and they're going to have to do a lot of filling and padding to extend the length of the next film, and probably people won't remember what happened in this film when the sequel comes out. But all of those are minor things to quibble about. This is a masterpiece, one of the best superhero movies of all time. Yeah, and the thing about, I guess in Deadpool and Wolverine, it's actually explained more that Spider-Man is like an anchor being, and what happens to him, the fate of the universe depends on that. And on the one hand, I don't like it, because that suggests that every other character in the universe is expendable, which is crazy. And not like universe, right? So we're talking like all of the other planets too. Why would Spider-Man be the focus of that? It's strange, but thinking about it from a different perspective, and maybe people who know comics more, like when a character says in comics that the universe is, that Spider-Man holds the universe together, maybe they're just talking about the comic book universe or the character in his universe. And it's kind of true, right? Because look how many Sony villain films, like Spider-Man villain films, they tried to make, like Morbius and Madam Web, and only one was really successful, like Venom, right? So it is kind of true that Spider-Man holds that universe together. So maybe that's what they mean by an anchor being. Yeah, there's my question. If you know a lot about comics, does the concept of anchor being just refer to the world of the comics or the actual whole universe? I'd be curious to know. I'm also curious if you would like to check out my other podcast, Leverton on Politics. Not for everyone, obviously. Death by Disney, where I review literally every Disney movie. Sometimes I get very mad. It's very entertaining. And I have another podcast with my son called the Everything and More Etc. podcast. So please check that one out as well.